wasn't last year, didn't, it was this year, and then that happens like.
All right, we ready? Everybody got their phones off? All right, folks, we're gonna start the meeting. If everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. There's no anthem like I said last month.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we do have a quorum. The meeting is started on September 18th at 12:34. Keith is absent due to a funeral, and Adam is not back yet in town, so those two are excused. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any question with the agenda? All in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. All right, next on the agenda, the approval of the board meeting minutes of August 15th, 2022. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion with the approval of the board meeting minutes of August 15th, 2022? All in favor signify with an eye. All opposed. Motion passes. I guess I should mention Denny's maintaining the ballot box, so he may or may not be voting. All right, I will entertain a motion for the approval of the closed board meeting minutes of August 14th, 2022.
Motion.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor of the approval of the closed board meeting minutes of August 14th, 2022 signify with an eye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the closed board meeting minutes of August 29th, 2022. Second, any discussion? All in favor of the approval of the closed board meeting minutes of August 29th, 2022 signify with an eye. All opposed. Motion passes. Treasurer's report and presentation of bills.
The balance sheet for August 31st, 2022 is on an accrual basis. Our total assets are 1,144,894.56. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at current assets. The total assets are 1,583,201.63. The total assets include all of our cash, our receivables, buildings, equipment, furniture and fixtures, roads, and vehicles. I did want to call your attention on the total for Midwest Bank account 1010. Right now, you might catch your eye that it shows a negative 4,414.42. We're not really negative. I had last month said that we were going to keep 100,000 in our account and the rest of it would be in an interest-bearing account. We have two huge checks that went out, one for roads and one for sand that were not cleared. So as far as the bank is considered, we have that money in the account until those checks clear, but we have it as a check has been cut and it's out of our account. So I actually did up it to 200,000 just so we're not going to have these words. So no one has to worry that we're out of money or anything. We're good. What else? Oh, the other thing is the capital improvement amount, there's 105,000 in that account. So just to be clear, some people thought that we had like 1,500,000 in our bank account. That's including roads, vehicles, cash, everything. That's not the cash that we have, but that 105 is all that we have that's extra, that's not been counted for in our budget. That's kind of just our only security blanket besides our ICF fund. In the past, we've had probably close to 400,000 or more. So little by little, we've eaten off a lot of those CDs. So just so you know, that's really why we needed that assessment increase, is we need to have a little more of a, something more there in our account to help with, help the increased expenses. So that's that. Profit and loss. For the month of August, we have a loss of 130,000, but that is also because we did have a huge road repair expense of 81,000. That's one of the checks that didn't clear. And of course, in August, we don't have as much assessment income coming in. For the year, though, we're showing a profit of 141,912.54. So we're good. And the check report. The check report, you will see the two checks I was talking about. Check 2797 for 80,850. That was one of the big checks this month. And the other was check 2798 to Oakley Fertilizer. That's our sand that we're purchasing ahead of winter season. So we're all set for sand once winter hits. So that's why our check report is a little higher. Also, last month, Joe Huddle brought up something about the porta potties being higher, and I didn't have my backup to go over it. So the porta potties last month, we had extra porta potties for Memorial Weekend and for 4th of July. We also had some damage that we had to pay for over 4th of July to the porta potties. And then they paid a bill early. So we don't have any bills for porta potty this month. So we're all good. Everything's fine as far as that expense, but that is why it was higher last month. So that's it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lori, but typically once the assessments come in, we always show or close to a negative there on
Right,
out till
for
the
the
next year.
month, yes, because we're not getting as much income in. Really, looking at the year to date gives you a better idea.
Right.
Yeah.
All righty. Is there a second? Or is there any discussion with the finance and presentation of bills? All in favor signify with an aye. All opposed, motion passes. Yes, ma'am.
That's gonna be loud.
I'll do my best to keep an eye on it. I'm right next to him, so. Damn agenda. Yeah, I freaked out on that presentation of bills. My eyes were deceiving me because I seen Sherry Graff and then I seen 80,000 because of zero. Oh, shit, we really upgraded our security this month. All right, correspondence report, Deb.
some complaints about vehicles parked on turns and corners and overnight parking in the street, vehicles parking overnight facing the wrong way in traffic, which is pretty dangerous. We had another complaint that was sent out to all of us about weeds in the lake, which Tim answered pretty fully, but like you said, we had a lapse. Our old lake treatment company failed us, and you got the bids that were needed and got a new company working now.
Yes. We'll detail on these.
Okay. Okay, we've had property owners asking for step-by-step assistance to post their property for sale on the website. And we had a suggestion to purchase equipment such as a seagrass rake or underwater weed mower that property owners could rent, but don't think we can afford it. Correspondence sent out, we had 560 plus assessment second notice mailing. That's like 25% of our property owners.
Yeah, that's not good. All righty, thank you, Deb. Okay, standing committee reports. Legal, as far as I can tell, there's nothing new about legal. I think everything's been addressed. There have been a handful of folks that are coming in here to try to pay their country club bills, and I think they've been redirecting them. So that's being taken care of. Denny, do you have anything from administration?
Just the usual stuff, escalated the conversation regarding the parking violations, increased foot traffic, specific property owners, when paying assessment and getting stickers, scheduling and processing all campground and pavilion reservations, gas passes, working with Jefferson County for gate violations, working with property owners via email to provide correct documents needed to get a boundary line adjustment, all title work for new deeds, transfers, and refinancing, welcoming new Raintree residents and new property owners, create new customer files and accounting software, update all information, create property file with all title paperwork and Raintree documents, working with ACC projects and other committee projects, building prorated assessments on all new properties sold, address all questions from non-property owners inquiring, wanting access, etc. Validate, make all single day pass requests made by property owners.
All right, thank you very much. Architectural control, Nick.
All right, so the number one issue we found this year has been drainage, specifically at the Big Lake. What we're trying to tell everybody is get with your neighbors. It is a property owner situation. The Raintree does not own any property between the houses. And realistically, it's kind of a hands-off thing. It would be a conflict of interest if we were to step in. So we're just trying to tell everybody, if you're building a new house, or someone's building a house by you, try to get a hold of them when the contractor's there before the side goes down, have a swale created between the houses and have a path for that water to travel between your houses. Construction processes have changed recently, and when new houses go in, they tend to build them a little bit higher than the previous houses. And that directly takes all the water, forces it down to the neighbor's house. And I don't want to see any issues created. There's been a lot of complaints about that this year, specifically. So we want to make sure we're getting that information out there. And if me and Keith need to show up, talk to you guys, get everyone in the same room, kind of work as a little bit of a mediator, saying, hey, listen, what do you think? We can do that at any time. But other than that, ACC has been going pretty well. The 2 meetings a month has been great from a timing standpoint. We haven't heard anything bad about that, people getting left behind. And we want to try to tell everybody too, this may not be an ACC thing, but just in general, to make sure that we're checking the county website. There's a GIS that's interactive that the Jefferson County has that has a whole bunch of properties for sale within Raintree. I think there's like 220 properties or something. Check on there real quick, see if you can find a property that's near yours and next to yours. They go for like $700, and you can combine it to your own property. You increase your property value. It helps us from actually being able to take the assessment for that property, but also it's going to clean us up and then make sure that it's just a black mark to have that many of our properties up on the county website. It's going to reduce our property values over time, but ACC's been going great. a good communication from everybody, so I'm good there.
All right, thanks, Nick. Communication and events, Steph.
Okay, currently we have 582 people who are getting the email newsletters. This next year, as we agreed, I think last month, we're gonna do 3 paper newsletters. That's cutting 1 back. So the next one won't be till December. We are working on planning some town halls on several different topics, getting some input from property owners and getting some good discussions going. So that's something coming up in the next year. And just quickly, one of the things that we kind of did through communications was this survey. We had a group of property owners meet back in April, I think, and we talked about different amenities that Raintree would like to see. And so we had decided to do a survey along with the assessment bills. And so we had 189 residents who voted, 124 non-residents, and 20 people who didn't know. And the top overall vote getters, number 1 was a shower at the beach. Number 2 was a playground. Number 3 was a miniature golf course for overall. And of course, this doesn't mean we have the money to spend on any of these things. We had agreed back in April that our next step is just going to be to get the group together, you know, invite property owners in for a town hall and talk about how money might be raised for some of these things. So I just gave this out so you all could see. So moving right into events, thanks to the people who helped and who came to the Labor Day brunch. It was the POA's first one. We had about 3 dozen property owners there and lots of good food. It was a good opportunity to meet the candidates.
Hang on. Hey, Denny.
It was a good opportunity to meet the candidates and ask questions. And we had quite a few people hang around and asking questions. So it was productive for our purpose. Then coming up, just to put it on your calendar, the POA is going to participate with the golf cart community again on Halloween for a trunk or treat at the boat ramp parking lot. That would be the primarily golf carts. So there'll be more information coming out about that.
All right, thanks, Deb. I appreciate it. Finance, Laurie, anything additional?
Just 2 quick things. So this is the time of year that we go ahead and transfer money to the ICF fund, which is our crisis fund, our infrastructure crisis fund. So always put away 5% of the prior year's collections. So that amount that's going to be transferred in is about 31,000, 31,339.60. And we calculated that they have it in the office. They're going to cut the check for Midwest. And we had voted to start up a dredging fund. The dredging fund is 2%. So that came up to $12,535.84. However, for this first year, we had also said we would split that amount over the next 5 years to give us a little more cash for this first year for some of the expenses that we had to cover. So how that worked out is about $2,500 is going into it for this year. Then for the next 4 years, we'll have 2,500 plus whatever the 2% calculation is next year. So we'll be making it up in the subsequent years. So
What in that ICF fund, when was the last time we drew from it and for what reason? Was it for the dam, probably the riprap on the dam?
No, I don't
we
think so.
don't.
That came out of the general budget.
At all, I can almost 100% say that it's not been drawn out at all since it was started, but it was only started 2018
Before I was
maybe.
here, I thought. Oh,
Jared
was it?
Radke,
Yeah, it was okay right around when I got here.
And that money is for just insurance payments if something really bad were to happen.
right, this is like the dam fails, I mean, something, right, so right
Deductible,
now.
probably.
Because, emergency. Would that consider dredging? Would that consider roads?
I don't think so. I think it's in the bylaws.
It's in the bylaws of what we gotta put
We
in
have
there.
to have all 9 board members approve.
Yeah,
So it takes money. So right now we have about 215,000. We'll have an additional 32,000 added to it this month. So we'll be just shy of 250,000.
I think it's
The ICF is
major.
Infrastructure crisis fund, so it's gotta be something, major that's not considered routine, so, yeah, dam failure.
Yeah, but would insurance pick that up though?
Insurance.
I mean, really, in the grand scheme, if we flood all the way to Hillsborough, 200,000 not gonna do anything anyway. So whether that money's there or not, I mean, there's just a conversation. I was just curious about.
Right now, it's in bylaw, so. And the other thing I would say, Nick, is considering that when we look at, I'm gonna rephrase the term reserve.
Mhm.
That would be, money that we have that's not spoken for through the budget. It's $106,000 approximately, that's not much, at all. So between the two of them, we're $350,000.
Does anybody know legally what we're allowed to have as a,
Yeah, where could we spend that money?
Crisis.
well,
fund.
no, what, I thought somebody had told me at one time that we're not allowed to have profit in the bank account, and this 105,000 is technically like a profit, albeit we could spend it if we wanted to, but
It used to be like $1 million. It used
Yeah.
to be a lot of money, so I'm not sure that's.
all right.
Yeah, I didn't see
Right.
anything that
Okay.
said there was a number, but, I would think for,
We have to collect for this ICF until we're like 1.5 times above the prior year's expense. So that's when we could stop contributing if we chose to. But
1.5 times the prior year's expenses.
But prior year's expenses,
Like $1 million,
about $1
$2
million,
million,
too.
$3 million,
yeah.
somewhere in there. So that's
So
gonna be
that
around.
will happen when your hair looks like mine.
I'd be happy to just have hair at that time.
I would think that for a subdivision like this, the reserve ought to be minimum half a year's assessment income.
Correct. No, I'm with you on that.
More likely a full year. And that's for, whatever, if we continue at 8-10% inflation for a decade,
And From that situation, are you counting the ICF fund into that reserve?
no, because the ICF is limited as to what it can be spent on. I mean, if we find out, it's hypothetically, I'm just making this up, there's nothing behind it, but you know what, if we got to go back to spending $80,000 a year for the lake treatments to get them under control, you can't spend the ICF money
Right.
on that. You could spend the reserve money to make up for it, but you couldn't.
I mean, the crisis fund is, you gotta look at it like, what is it preventing me from getting to my house, to living my life and things
I
like
mean,
that.
road
like a
caves
sinkhole or something,
in,
right?
or,
Yeah, I mean-
sinkhole.
That's what you're saying.
But I do agree that I think, John, you had mentioned that we should have at least 50 to 70% in reserve of what our annual assessments are. And we're nowhere near that.
If it's feasible to get there, we should, because, we have, like I said, we have $105,000. It's like, it won't take something out of the ordinary to manage
Right.
it. And just think if inflation ends up being 10% over everything, that would be a $70,000 hit to us based on our expense stream.
Mhm.
Yeah, the ICF, is a separate account. The money is strictly major unanticipated infrastructure and equipment expenses. Examples include government mandates, major dam issues, major road issues, major building damage, major equipment damage. And it does need to continue at 5% until it's 1.5 times the previous year's expenses.
Expenses or assessments?
Expenses.
Okay.
Well, that would be more than assessments. In most cases.
Do we have any indication of the $50 special assessment from 2 or 3 years ago? What's still pending, or have we wrote any of that off yet?
Yeah, we have. We still have actually about 39,000 in security, give or take. So part of it, the CPA is kind of going through some stuff, and there were a couple of things that had been charged against the special assessment security that I didn't think really should be. And I told him anything under 500, and I specifically, I mean, it had to be specifically security, not like the security people, the people that work security or something. It had to be something extra because that's what we said we
Special.
were going to do. Right. So Adam knows that. I've put that into the budget for this year, the money that hasn't been spent. And I know he's not here today, but he is working on upgrading gates, cameras, and that money is going to be used for that. The maintenance actually is pretty much wiped out. I'm kind of waiting for the CPA or whoever's the next treasurer will be looking at that, but it was so close to zero. It was right around 1,400, and didn't want to spend any more money of that in case he came up with something different. Our taxes get filed October 15th is when they're the final deadline. So we'll have everything by then. Yeah. So those numbers could change a little bit, but yeah, I mean, all this could change. I mean, everything, but like he'll do his normal entries of writing off some stuff or whatever. And so there could be some differences. Once we get into October, we'll have.
So of that money that we've collected, how many outstanding $50 assessments do we have
Oh, how many
that
outstanding?
haven't paid that? Because I know it was a chunk months ago. I don't know if you have that number or
I
not, Lori.
don't have that number,
All right, no biggie.
but the office should be able to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I know there's still some outstanding special assessments from the last one we had. I just,
they are still collecting it little by little from some people.
golf cart, everything's been going as expected to my knowledge. Up here Friday, I heard the ladies inspecting a golf cart, so everything seems to be going as expected. It's not really a major. I like what we did in the spring, though. I think maybe we ought to try to target that every year, that massive renewal. All right, Tim, lakes and beaches.
I don't have really a whole lot. We, after everything is official after today and stuff, we getting the dredging measurements and stuff going. Lakes and Beaches Committee meeting will be happening, and having Matt, who does lake treatment, come and talk to the committee members. And that meeting is going to be basically just that, because there's going to be so much questions coming and everything else. I don't want to bring them to a board meeting to just take up a lot of time. So that way the Lakes and Beaches Committee can help set out this information of what our plan of attack in spring and stuff is to start the lake treatment, and what we're going to need from the community's help to help control the weeds and stuff into the lakes. Fertilizing the yards, cutting grass, the grass clippings going out into the lakes. I mean, there's just a lot that has to do with it. That is why there's ups and downs. I've gotten a couple messages and a complaint. Someone's pissed because we got rid of the other lake treatment company. Well, when we're paying for months we don't even get treatments, you know, and they're in breach of contract, then I think we need to kind of protect ourselves from just from paying. Even with that lake treatment company, we had our ups and downs. From April, whenever I first got on here, we were having our ups and downs. So I don't see where, you know, the old company and stuff, just everything was all perfect and everything, you know, and stuff, because with there's just a lot of stuff we gotta do too. So I'm gonna be getting that right there, going so we can start educating the community, stuff what we gotta do. It's a lot of stuff that affects the people in our lives.
Well, yeah, and to that point, the biggest thing was a 30% increase, yet our contract said
Well, yeah, total 33. Yeah.
33, no more than 3%. And we actually paid 1 month before we caught it. So we're hoping for a refund since they didn't do the work. So that was a whole fiasco in itself.
So really, that could go under legal protection.
Yeah, that part of it, yeah.
That's
They're-
what they do for the 1 year contract period. They only did 15 of the 20. And they doubled them up on several.
Well, and they said they
days.
were here 3 times and we validated the card.
Oh, yeah, they didn't show up, and then they were charging us for that month, and then they would come 3 times in a month. You know, and then they're coming in December 3 times when, you know, I mean, right now, everything is starting to die off, especially on Spring Lake. You see the willow weed, you see it starting to die off. You know, so wintertime when the water gets cold, everything's gonna die off, it's gonna get back to normal, and that's where at the beginning of the season next year, we gotta get ahead on it. And stuff, so that way it doesn't, you know, it doesn't get out of control. We did go 2 months without treatment, because with legal stuff, get rid of the Solitude, start a new company, and we had 2 months that we didn't even have any treatments at all. And stuff with the 2, so. I mean, with the inconsistency, there's just gonna be ups and downs and stuff with it and stuff, so.
All right, thanks, Tim. All right, maintenance. Tom actually presented a statement here that he would just like to kind of give an overview of the last year, so I'll read it to you. Yearly overview of activities of 2022. This last year started with the maintenance department receiving several new pieces of equipment. We got a new Billy Goat brand truck loader for dealing with the leaves and a new snowplow for the F-550 dump truck. Most of that came from that special assessment.
Yeah.
Winter was particularly challenging with extended periods of deep cold, and several times we had multiple day ice snow events that stretched our crew and equipment to its limits. Spring brought heavy rain and storms, which resulted in lots of trees and limbs down, causing issues for our residents trying to come and go. Summer is now ending, but the growing season seems to not want to slow down, as we are still seeing a quick growth rate. We soon hope to spend more time pushing back the woods from the roads, as well as a few other projects that are high on our list. Along with repairs to Rain Trees properties, we have managed to assist lakes and beaches with normal maintenance and a few projects. We worked on security equipment, including changing over our gate lighting to LED when the opportunity arises, and run new data lines across Column Drive for future upgrades. Vandalism and theft continue to be a problem as we lose street signs on a regular basis. Damage to our picnic tables, bathhouse, and porta potties is expensive and brings down the whole neighborhood. Please, if you see something, say something. Pictures and videos help too. As always, we work hard and do our best to keep the community safe and appealing to live in, but we can't see everything all the time. So if you see something that we need to be aware of, please let us know. Thank you, Tom Hayes. And I would say, does anybody know any of the maintenance guys? If you don't, that's a good sign. That means they're doing their job. So Tom's great at what he does, and my hat's off to him. I don't have to, you pick up the phone and call him and he's on top of it if he's around. So I appreciate what he does for this community.
I would like to add one thing onto this, because they had talked about at the bottom of it, if you see anything, that is a huge thing that's important. And stuff. We know things go on, we can't control everything, but if we know and you can get any information to us, we can help stop it. So I think a lot of these people, if they know that we're out there, the community is out there watching also, and reporting things, it's gonna help deter some of, at least stop some of the stuff, from happening. So any information and stuff, will be very helpful.
All right, rules, John. Oh, roads, I'm sorry. Benny, sorry, I checked it off before I got to the report.
Okay, West Paving informed me that they will be here for the 2022 road repair replacement in October. We want to remind the folks that only a small amount of work will be completed this year. This is due to the cost of asphalt increasing 61% in the last 2 years. The association is falling at least a couple of years behind in fixing the many problem locations. Without additional funding by the membership, road repair will continue to be delayed. There hasn't been a change in the highway department schedule on installing the flashing lights at Highway B and Column intersection. As far as we know, it is still planned for October.
Have you taken a look at that concrete that we just did out here?
Plantation,
Yeah,
Laurie and I looked at it a couple of weeks ago. Looks like we got some patching up to do on that too.
there's a lot of work needs to be done. It's cracking in the exact same location that we've replaced.
That's what I thought.
So I don't know if they have a warranty or something on that.
Year.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
get it. In fact, he's gonna be coming out a couple of weeks to review it, so.
yeah, that, I know it's probably down the road a little bit, but that change, that road needs to be brought up further. So that slope doesn't come down in the dip as much with, I feel like we're gonna have to increase the depth of that concrete in order to keep that.
That's a real dip down there.
Yeah, when you got those big trucks coming in, stopping and then popping back up, and that's just forcing all that straight into them, but.
I guess asphalt on that road isn't even feasible.
It's not necessarily the strength per se as much because concrete's stronger than asphalt.
Right.
It's just the fact that the way that it's built. So if you think about curvature and then the weight of your vehicle, if you have it like this, the way the vehicle is going to come down, it's going to hit first, then pop up, then the rear is going to hit. But if you make that more elliptical, you're going to take that energy and kind of smooth it through. What we have currently is this. So as that wheel hits, it stops and pops back up. Well, all of those bigger trucks and dump trucks and garbage trucks keep hitting it, it's gonna crack it. So the only way to fix it is in those troubled areas, go twice as deep with the concrete, over strengthen that area to make sure when it pops, it's got enough to keep it up. Depth is the main solid solution there. Short of.
Do you know like how deep it should be?
So residential is anywhere between like in concrete, between like 3 and 4 inches, somewhere in there. If we go to 6, 7, 8 inches, even if it's in a smaller portion of just like high traffic areas, maybe a little bit more expensive, but we have to stop breaking. We can not have enough money until the cows come home, but until we actually fix something, we're gonna be in a world of hurt. So yeah, maybe depending on the depth and what they did in all the areas, specifically in those bottom of that trough, just reinforce the crap out of it. Maybe put rebar in there because we know it's a problem area. It's happened now. It's only been when they put that in a couple months ago. Yeah,
Is there any way to take that part of it? And I mean, is there homes right next to it? Or is it just woods? If that's the case, couldn't we just swale, take that?
that's the way to fix it and just add fill to it. And that's,
Right.
it's older building practices too, right? So back in the day, they would just build against, excavating it is a pain in the butt or bringing fill in. But yeah, that's exactly how you fill it. You just bring it up and then make that slope less. And that's what they did in Missouri, and the highway did the same thing. Instead of going up over the hill, they just broke the hill and went straight through it to try to reduce the amount of heavy hills. And we got that problem all through our subdivision, but not specifically with the speed that we have there.
Right.
Speed is what's killing us. So maybe speed bumps or something. I mean, concrete itself does a pretty good job of slowing us down, but maybe speed bumps, maybe something to kind of stop that from happening. But that trough is going to be
That makes
it's going to be a
sense.
mess.
Denny, the POA owns Plantation, is that correct?
That's correct.
You know where I'm going with
It
that.
was given to us by the developer in about 2004.
How nice of him.
I like the word given there.
Gonna give them our mortgages. All right, thanks, Denny. Rules, John.
this month, what I wanted to go through is just observations over the last 6 months of the rules chairman. First I'd state that we need to take on the task of reviewing all of the rules. There are so many conflicts written between the rules, the bylaws, the covenants, the rules manual that, it's hard for anybody to stay above and out of trouble. In my opinion, the non-policing and owner reporting complaints does not work. It allows for tolerance of clear rules violations. Censured owners are complaining that when they get censured, it's not fair because there's 100 other of the same things happening here. Question would be if the items are clearly tolerated by the community, is the rule any longer valid or needed? The rules manual does not call for warnings. The first reported and confirmed offense is a censure. Many feel we should have a warning system and not an immediate censure system. The administrative part of rules compliance has to return to the office with the priority of getting these done. All vehicles should be registered with the office. If we don't have the license plate on file, there's a lot of things that get reported that we can't do anything about. We don't know who did it. Beach parking should be simplified. New rules and rule changes should be put in front of the community for input for the board to consider. Owners need to take more accountability to know the rules or seek clarification to keep themselves out of running amok with the rules. And owners, this is a big one. Owners have to review the rules with their family and guests. A lot of these situations are happening because they have guests. For an example, the amenities are a benefit that belongs to the owners. Family and guests can use the amenity, but they have to be accompanied by the owner. So we just had an issue that I think came up a week or so ago. Somebody's guest, was by themselves with their dog headed to the beach. Well, dogs aren't allowed on the beach. They had no parking past the park there, and they were not accompanied by the owner. So that guest should not have been using the amenity. From that, any owners have, the question. Any owners that question the rules and do they make sense in today's world, bring them forward so we can review them. I think this will make for a much better lane tree.
Thanks, John. To your point about enforcement, and I don't know how we handle this, and anybody's got an answer, feel free to let me know, because I've been contacted by the property owner several times. I'd say about a month or so ago, we had a DUI of a non-property owner, non-resident, run into a property owner's retaining wall. End up getting a DUI out of it. I was called down there. I was not allowed to talk to the person that had the accident. I did talk to the homeowner and every other person down there that had an opinion of who let him in and whatnot. So the property owner said the police report said there was no physical damage, which there clearly is. Now, I don't know if they meant physical body damage or actual property damage. So he contacted me, wanted me to censure him, this, that, and the other. So Tom and I think others from the office went through video and could not find where this kid came in. I believe it was on a Monday night, and chances are he might have been here all weekend. That being said, the homeowner's frustrated with us because we really have no jurisdiction. We can't censure him. He doesn't live here. It's really, I think, a civil matter at this point. So if any of you got any other way to handle this, I don't know what I can tell them other than the facts that we didn't see where he tailgated in, he drove in, used a card, used a code. They searched all 3 gates from that morning till the time of the accident. And the only thing I can assume is it was prior to when they started looking, maybe the weekend but it was, we feel that it was part of another problem of a bunch of kids in a boat that were intoxicated and whatnot. So it was kind of a mess, and not sure if he was leaving. I heard there was almost a drowning in the lake from somebody that got fished out by a property owner, and it's just a nightmare. But I don't other than what I've explained to the property owner, I don't know what else we can do. The police said that it's our deal to take care of the trespassing issue. I don't know how we don't have a law enforcement body here to do anything. He doesn't live here. So if anybody's got any idea,
Without being able to talk to him, we don't even know who he is.
Right.
As POA board, so.
so that's the issue of enforcement of somebody gets in here without our knowledge or a code or a card, or we visually see it on the cameras. And even that, it's a crapshoot.
Well, if it comes down to a, he said, she said, I'm trying to be sexist here, but, if it comes down to that, we're powerless. We don't have, we do not have court type authorities. So if there aren't, like Tom said in his report, if there aren't photos or video that's supported, it's difficult to uphold the censorship for things like that.
Dave, you're responsible for the roads and what happens to the roads. If somebody goes off road, whether they're drunk or not, hit somebody else's house, it's still a matter between that owner and.
Yeah, that's kind of what I explained to him. I told him we didn't have jurisdiction over that. Thanks, Ted. Okay, thanks, John, for the rules update. Security. So Adam, are you available to speak?
Yeah. So,
Hang on, let me get my volume up here. All right, give it your best and speak loud.
all right. So I've been pursuing a couple bids. I've been called to 3 different companies. I've only gotten bids back from one company as far as the gate upgrade goes. So essentially what we have, and I'll send you all this proposal that I have in email. But looking at transferring over to the RFID sticker system, we were looking at doing the license plate reading cameras. Unfortunately, with that, when it comes to golf carts and other, mainly golf carts, it would have a really hard time trying to pick up the golf cart sticker. So looking at doing the RFID stickers and then replacing the access control system with that, and then doing a reinforced steel fence and gate up front towards the guard shack that would be open during the day but closed down at nighttime. So I'll shoot that all over to you in email, and then I'm still waiting on 2 more companies to get back to us. Unfortunately, it seems pretty tough to get people to even bid work nowadays. So that's pretty much all I got as far as the security bids and stuff goes.
All righty, appreciate it.
They've had a question for Adam.
Yeah, John's got a question for you.
Hey, Adam, could we not still do the license plate type of thing and convert the golf cart stickers only to the RDFI technology? So we could read them, because if the gate access is tied to your license plate, that will solve one of the issues that we have, that we don't have license plates for people that are coming in here with access.
Did you hear the question, Adam?
Yeah, and theoretically, so would the stickers. But the issue with then you're integrating 2 different technologies, and they may not integrate seamlessly together. So basically, you would have 2 systems running side by side, which I think could become an issue, right? Because then I said, huh? I must have lost you.
Maybe what we do for the five sticker, you gotta submit your vehicle registration.
Yeah, it wasn't real. I think there's just some background noise somewhere, Adam. We get it that there would be 2 technologies driving to 1 security system. So maybe it's just, maybe you can reach out and ask.
Yeah, I will. I just
that?
think, I will. I just think that would kind of elevate the cost, right?
Okay.
We could look at just doing the license plate technology and just sticking with some gate cards for the golf carts too. I mean, we could look at doing that way, but we're still, still be 2 separate systems So, I mean, yeah, we can definitely look more into that. I'm not stuck on any one thing, so.
All right. The thing I would like to bring up is if we use the RFID, that's more for access, where a golf cart sticker is more just to make sure you got it registered. I mean, yeah, sure, people run back and forth, but I don't know how we would handle that, either a card for the, I don't know, that I'm thinking out loud here, but
Plenty of people go in and out of the gates with golf carts.
right.
And using the RFID sticker system doesn't in any way designate the parking system at the beach.
That has to be addressed separately.
Yeah, that would have to be addressed separately with like a placard
All
or
right,
something like
thanks,
that,
Adam.
like we were talking about. All right.
All righty, that's all of the committee reports. We'll go into unfinished business unless anybody has anything else for committees. No. All right, unfinished new business and new business. Any unfinished business? There's none on the agenda that I'm aware of. All right, any new business? No. I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Yes. Oh, so for anybody in the audience, which is all there is, because we don't have the video today, the newsletter had a typo in it. So there are three-year terms up. So the three most vote getters get those 3-year terms. The second most or the fourth most vote getter will get a 2-year term, and the fifth most vote getter will get a 1-year term. I think the newsletter said 1 3-year term. And just so everybody knows, every year there are always 3 openings available, assuming there's no, resignations, deaths, moves, whatever. So there's always 3 3-year terms available every year. It wrote that every year you get 3 new people on, you get a 3-year term. So the newsletter, we had a typo in it. We didn't catch it. It was brought to our attention by a property owner. We reviewed it yesterday and we have made that correction. And I mean, it would have flushed out in the balloting.
I'm fine. I don't even try to calculate it. I just get it from the office.
Yeah, we just was overlooked by, myself and Deb and others. But yeah, 3 3-year terms, 1 2-year term, and 1 1-year term.
Dave, before we adjourn, if we did
Sure.
already, I forgot one thing. A resident brought up that they're seeing more and more cigarette butts in lawns. So either people are flicking them out of their car or through their golf carts, and with fall approaching and leaves and start to dry out. We want to ask everybody to please refrain from doing that. Take your cigarette butts with you. We don't want a fire started in here by accident. And just to give you a little extra incentive, if you're a smoker, you flick your cigarette butt. Littering, $75 cent if you get caught.
All you smokers out there.
Quit smoking.
Braintree is a smoke-free environment. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjournment? All opposed? Meeting adjourned at 1:26. All right, we will have a quick open forum if anybody has anything. Nancy.
We aren't being, this is not being, this isn't going to the world, okay? There's never a ton of people at the general meeting. There's never, well, we have more people at the monthly meetings than are here today. Thank you people for coming, but I think this is really sad. We've got, I think I counted 9, 10 people in here and 2 of us are couples. So, anyway, just a comment. I think it's sad. And when John makes an announcement about the cigarette butts, Great announcement. 9 of us heard it. You know, or 10, I'm sorry.
Send it out.
We can do an email and a blast on it and get the word out there. When you said couples, why is that guy behind you shaking his head like that? Congratulations.
If you're. You know, that's a quick way that you can get. When we got just under 600, I think. is,
582.
You know, I mean, that's a way that we can get something timely out quickly to people, that hopefully they'll see it, doesn't wait from 1 month to the next, or for them to watch the video. You know, the other advantage will be as we start to seek more input from the community, if the town hall isn't any better represented, you know, we're gonna have to use electronic communication to be able to garner that input, so. And really encourage everybody to please register an email, and we get an email free from Gmail. And that way you'll be able to quickly stay informed.
And what do we send? About 2,200 ballots out?
2,200 news. What
How many ballots are, you know, the newsletters?
newsletters when they go in paper? Yeah.
So
about
technically 2,200 people could vote. We, as of Saturday, at the end of the day, we had approximately 200. That's pitiful. That's worse than the national average. I don't know how many came in today. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say 100. That's barely over 10%. Linda, you had something?
I'm trying to formulate a comment, but I'm not quite sure if it's going to be cohesive because it touches upon a lot of the conversation. So part of it is a couple years ago when we had the CRC going, one of the projects that we had going on was a welcoming committee. And part of the ideas that came from that is that when new people came on board, you know, from here, that we would pretty much I don't know if you would say it, but require them, you know, to come to a meeting where we could talk about the rules and the censures, where we could talk about don't let your guests can't come and go to the beach without you. All these things that most of us that live here know, you know, reading the bylaws and the rules or go to the website for it. It's like, yeah, folks aren't going to jump on that. But if we could welcome them, and you know, talk about our philosophies here, our culture here, our staycation lifestyle, blah blah blah, whatever, and really excite them about being a really good owner here. You know, come to the monthly meetings, talk about all the different things. I think that could make a difference, and that people would feel like that they belong, that this is special, that Raintree is special. You know, this I catch some things sometimes, you know, on social media about this gated community, you know, like, and they live in a gated community, so they should be better people kind of thing, you know, and that's kind of funny, obviously. But part of it is, why do we live in a gated community? Because we do want the protection, you know, so we do want a working gate system, and we do want you to follow the rules and not let someone follow you. And I'm curious to know about, I think, Tim, you were saying, and somebody else said it, you know, reports what you see. Like, so where is that reported? Do we have a spot somewhere that is like all the current, not current, but, you know, here's some things that happened in the neighborhood, theft kind of things, so that we could all be aware and go, oh my gosh, I had no idea someone was doing that, whatever that is.
Right on the website, it can be reported.
Okay.
And then it goes out.
You're looking more of a logging perspective, right?
I'm looking at, so how can we get more involved? I mean, watching kind of thing that, that shows that we are all involved and we're all paying attention, and we're a gated community for a reason. You know, just a bigger overall thing of why we exist the way we exist, and here's the things that we have in place, including telling that to the people, brand new people. You know, this is what we're about. This is why we have it this way. This is what we all expect everyone to contribute to helping with.
And everyone is out there looking out for the safety and stuff of our, that way that they know, that, you know, what, you might have a neighbor, you know, if you're caught doing something you're not supposed to do, and you might have someone report you.
Right, exactly, so that everyone's aware right up front. I do really think that a warning system should be in place for a first time venture. You know, it's a bit hard to know the however many rules we have here. Even something as simple as surfing on the beach. You know, it's like, really? And then, of course, my question is like, so what is a curse word? You know, someone's Helen Dam might be somebody else's, oh my gosh. You can't say that. So, you know, something a little bit more informative, I mean, the tone of voice, of course, is, we're glad you're here. It's a thriving, you know, wonderful thing, and we want to keep it this way. And this is why we have these rules. This is why we have, I mean, you know, all of that. So people know from day one.
And
welcome here.
To add to that, a couple of years ago, we had designed an orientation package
Yes.
that is posted on the website and that the office does distribute when people come in.
Right.
It's just another thing that they just might put in the pile that they
Yeah.
never read.
Yeah, and so to add to that was then when they do come to this orientation, we can, I make it not mandatory, but it's required, you can collect their email address. This is the way we communicate here. You know, we need your, I mean, everyone has an email address. You kind of pretty much have to live in this world.
Right.
You know, so this is kind of like not an option. This is the way we do things here. And we do things so we can tell you about all the things going on. It's for everyone's benefit. And then, of course, because we're all paying assessment fees that are arising because we do want bigger, better, whatever. You know, people need to, the people that pay assessment, all of us, need to know that our money, that we all believe the same thing, that we all want to be protected. We all, the money's going to us, needs to, we can have that lifestyle that we've chosen to have. And again, telling people, this is special, not special, this is the way this is our philosophy, this is what we believe. That's kind of simple, I think I said, I think I didn't find what I wanted to. But I wanted to ask Laurie, you said 25% of our assessments require a second notice that they're late, correct?
Over 500.
Oh, yeah, Deb mentioned that. Yeah.
Oh.
How many went out? Yeah, how many second notices went
I
out?
think it was
Yeah.
562.
So my question is, are some of those people that just haven't paid year after year after year, and they're late people they haven't been paying anyway for years? Or do we eventually get that paid, even if it takes multiple times to do that?
Well, it
And then
depends
what
on,
happens if you don't pay? What is the process?
it goes to collections. Those
Okay.
go to collections. They're there now, right? I mean, they're in the process of being
Yeah.
put together for collections if they haven't done already, and they are responsible for the fees for that. We do have people who owe us money who are dead. We have people who owe us money
That's
who have
no
gone
excuse.
bankrupt. We have people, companies that owe us money because they bought up a bunch of lots for building and then basically abandoned them. So then they, you know, eliminated the company. So it's not all simple. It's not, but we do have a lot of things in process. Laura, you can
Right.
add to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we do have a fairly good record of collecting those. It gets their attention, obviously, when they see that they'll think, oh, yeah, I forgot, I did get that and never paid it. So, yeah, we've definitely had some that actually, you know, just got paid at the very end of the month, this month, and actually quite a few came through because the girls had to try to figure out who was eligible to vote or not, and that all had, you know, after those notices went out, they probably have a, because they had to like mark off every time they got a check in from somebody that had their second notices sent out, that, you know, those they actually paid so they can get on the voting log. So, yeah, and then those that don't, they, you know, they go to collections, and we're kind of working through that, or we have been, and you know, trying to see. how we want to handle some of those people, if that's the best way or not, but, you know, versus maybe another collection company or whatever, but that's something that's kind of in the works right now. We're kind of, you know, that's been a big discussion lately about
So
that.
for the most part, when they use other collections, do they eventually pay even for a couple, 3, 4 months late? Or they finally go, if they give me my property, that's when the.
Right, some do, I mean,
Usually.
yeah, right.
You're spending money for them to.
right.
I think if we ever get to the point of where we're not sending a significant amount, a lot of these are probably lots that don't want to pay the country club, so they're hell with it. But once we get past that roller coaster, I think it'll be minimal. And I think we need to look for another collection agency that puts the heat on them in a court of law. But to answer your one question about cussing on the beach, in 1972, George Carlin did a skit called The 7 Dirty Words You Can't Say on Television. We're going to put that in the covenants. It's actually a pretty funny skit that he did pre-cell phones and video phones and televisions. And
I do have one thing that I wanted to ask, that she kind of brought up too, I think that's like as far as being able to report something that's not a gate, because I know we have the incident report, but that's really just for the gates, right? Because your drop downs are which gate?
right.
Can we
But then
put a
there's
tab on
There's
there
some
for,
other- We get.
so you don't get other,
We get
things?
other-
There is another, okay.
One
So
of the
people
things
can-
I wrote, David, we should take a look at, and bring it up here, running all the time, but we need, if they're gonna allow them to report an incident through that, it's a complaint, they need to be able to upload picture or video.
I think we added that, didn't we?
We talked about it.
I thought Nikki added it, but I'll
I'm not sure
mention
it's
it to
there.
her.
But we can use that as a means to.
I mean, one of the things that we talked about, I don't know if it was at the last meeting or what, to try to have a new town or have a town hall every 4 weeks. So you can, at the town hall, you can bring up something that happened at the last board meeting, or you can bring up something that you may want to have discussed at the new board meeting. I would love for that. I just don't know we'll get the participation, Linda. I'm all for CRC and over communicating and getting it out there and having people like that first one you guys had was awesome. I think it's like anything. It's, you know, everything dwindles down, and I don't know, maybe we need to charge them $100 assessment at the beginning of the year and they get $10 every time they show up or something.
So you bring up. a good point.
Or maybe we split the money for the people that do show up.
You know, but every
Right.
It's just what we have to do at the time of that term philosophy of you feed whoever comes to the table. You know, and even if it is just however many it is, hey, we gave up a good Sunday afternoon to be here, we're going to communicate to everyone, and then we can offer the ideas, you know, so we have to keep doing it, even if we're not happy with the turnout. Because the more and more we do, the welcoming, all those things, people are gonna go, yeah, we gotta come to this, we're part of the neighborhood, we want to know what's going on.
Usually.
I mean, then people can watch them ride, and people like sitting in the chair all day.
Right. And I think that is, probably a lot of people thought today would be recorded, which we didn't really realize it wasn't going to be. But they probably thought they didn't need to come.
Well,
Yeah.
and another thing I have brought up, but it seems to always get in the crosshairs of somebody. But if you do a town hall, and let's just say maybe the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of a particular town hall, not maybe every meeting or maybe every meeting, that the HOA has a representative there to say, hey, we're the HOA. Here's the sign up sheet. Here's the table. You can put all your information in. We're going to do electronic communications. This is for homeowners only. Feel free to join. And as that HOA grows, I think you tend to get more participation in these types of meetings. And maybe it doesn't need to be every meeting. And I don't know if we could even do it every 30 days, but I think the town halls are great. It worked with you guys a couple times. The one Adam had, and he was kind of green on the rules, but you got a lot of people involved. And
And part of it is the social aspects that we have to talk.
Right.
And then you don't work with people, and then you're like, oh, did you go to the meeting? No, no, I missed it. What, people come next, it's just more of a community oriented page. And it can take a while, but we'll get there.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna try to go down that road again in some shape or form, and it'll take help from everybody. Nancy,
I think there is a difference between an orientation and a town hall meeting. Because when she said orientation, I thought, I think that's a great idea. I don't think you can demand that anyone comes. But an orientation where someone says, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. People are, it's not everybody discussing stuff. It's, this is the rule, this is the HOA, like you said, this is. And then, do you have any questions? It would be 99% new people there. It wouldn't be a town hall meeting. I like both ideas, but I do like the idea of an orientation where there is one representative of the POA or two there to say, this is what we do. And they have the same speech, and it is held every month or every 2 months for new people. And I would call that an orientation. Town hall, I think, is good, however different purpose.
yes, ma'am. I'll get to you.
I am, my husband and I brought our.
Can I ask you your name, please?
So my husband and I brought our property in 1980. So when it was like those beige color pictures, that's what it looked like when we bought our property. We had plans on moving down here, but now I say we have dreams, but now we just have realities. But we've been involved with, so we come quite often to use the lake. So I'm curious, when we came this summer, there was all those little spots for golf carts, which is great because you can get more vehicles up there. But when we come, we bring our boat and we have a truck. So to park the truck down by the boat launch is not really very feasible to walk all of our stuff to the beach. So we drop our stuff at the beach and then go park our truck. There's really not, there's only maybe what 4 or 5 places there for big vehicles.
Well, I don't know about big vehicles, but part of the problem was the food truck, and we relocated it. So now that has opened up about 6 spaces. But yeah, I agree. They're not the largest for, a big truck that's pulling a big boat, but
And then of course, you can't park up on the planet spots on the hill because it's trailer, so we have to like unload the trailer and then park it. So basically, I just reserve a camp spot. So my grandkids don't have to go to the town in the spot. We can actually have a bathroom. And then we have a little, like, there's no wind that blows behind the thing. You go to eat a picnic area, you're hot, like, okay, let's go back on the beach and there's a, breeze blowing up there. But I just want to say, we have been so impressed all the years that we came to see how the community has gotten better and better all the time. I think with 1980, it had to be a minimum of a 900 and some odd square foot house. Now, when you ride a bike around the boat around the lake, it's like, okay, there's no way we could even begin to compete with these homes, so we just stayed in our own house involved. But I just want to say, it sounds like hearing all the problems and things of the development, it really is come a long way. And every year it gets better and better. We've always been impressed. And it wasn't like some like developments like the parents bought into, like Whispering Valley and some of those places, that I think you should be proud of what you're doing and to keep it up. So the other thing is, as an original owner and the whole country club thing, I guess I say I won't go there. But so you are losing a lot of people because that was my first impression too. I get it. I don't golf. There's no restaurant to partake of. And the swimming pool said maximum 4 people. I have 14 grandchildren. It's like, what is the point of this country club thing? I know it's some judge somewhere made some big decision. And I'm sure many of us are not happy with it, but so I'm not gonna take that money for nothing.
I can tell you what I know. Really, all that boils down on the country club owner. But I will, to your first point about you thinking this is a great place to be at, I will tell you, you hear the most out of the complainers. So, you get 5 or 10 people complaining, you don't hear about the 2,190 people that are happy about living here, whether it be on a golf course, in the woods, on the lake, in the forest, wherever, being on a boat, playing golf, just hanging out at the beach, whatever. I think the majority of the people here enjoy being here. Is it an issue with the country club? Absolutely. That's why he's been fighting it since 2012. Part of our covenants provided for that settlement agreement. He is eventually going to open the restaurant. I've seen him doing construction work up there. I actually walked through the restaurant a couple weeks ago, and I'll tell you, if he can get it together, it's an awesome place. Because me and my wife, when we were looking for a place, we'd eat down here 2 to 3 times a week. Fried chicken on Sunday was awesome. I mean, for $6-7, you get a half a chicken and 2 sides and a drink for $8. Where can you go to get that? Costs you more gas to get here now to do that. But I think he's got things in the works. I don't want to speak for him, but I agree. I mean, I even said to him, I said, Dave, you got a great opportunity now to get that restaurant open for 2 reasons. He said, well, it's not a 7-day-a-week restaurant. Well, I disagree, because when he had it, he had 600 homes here. And you had a majority of an older group of people here at that point in time. Sorry, Denny. Now you have, I think, 800 or better homes. Is that right? You got a lot of young people here. I mean, this board, this gentleman here, or any other youngsters? Nancy, sorry. Yeah. Mike, sorry. Can't go there. But you got a lot of younger people that are buying homes, some off of the lake. I think Denny mentioned this is the first time. Hey, Keith, sorry for your loss. Denny mentioned for the first time in how many years there's a house being built over in 20 through 25 off the lake. Is that correct?
There's one house built in the last 10 years.
Right. So things are changing, or did people are trying to give up their lot? Sure. But to get rid of your lot completely, it's got to go for 6 years without paying assessments and taxes. After 3 years, somebody can bid on it and you pay the difference of the taxes. After 6 years, it's wiped out and you just pay, and you can negotiate that with the county. Good luck. But some of that is probably the case. Tim is a real estate agent. People have reached out to him to sell lots. It's difficult right now when you're trying to sell a $2,000 lot and you can buy one for $500 at the county. That being said, I've said since I started here, every subdivision rolls over about 5 to 7 years, both in the people that live here, the amenities that get produced. And I mean, the way technology and things are happening in this world of the year we live in now compared to when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, I mean, you blink your eye and something changes, technology changes. So I think things will happen. The security we're trying to work on to get upgraded where we don't, we're not, okay, that guy drove in the lot, we're going to write his name. And I think I got the 6 numbers off his license plate. So I agree with you 100%. Are there a few problems? Yes, we do our best to do it, but those problems always get highlighted everywhere, especially social media nowadays. Back when you and I grew up, there was no social media. You drove down here, you came in. Oh, did you know the gate was broken? Oh, no, we didn't. Now the foam falls off the gate and everybody knows about it.
And you can always think about the negatives associated to a golf course. I mean, a lot of ways it's a little bit more difficult, but really from a property ownership standpoint, having an operating nice golf course does wonders for our property value. It keeps it clean. It attracts nicer, better people for the community. That portion is good. Plus, it did a lot of benefit for a lot of people that were paying $950 a year for the same amenity that you're talking about, that I'm talking about. I was fortunate enough, I think, like you, that didn't have to pay for the golf course previously, and this is my first year doing it. But man, coming down there and golfing for $250 a year is a cheap amenity to have. I mean, if you don't go a couple times, you and your spouse go 3 or 4 times, it's paid for. Yeah.
But my son-in-law likes to golf. I mean, because like you said, the property owner has to be with you. So
That's a POA rule, not a golf course rule. I don't know what their rule is. It's it's not a private club, so your son-in-law can come in. I don't know how that all works with yeah. I don't think so. Yeah, he can come down here and play. The discount would be if you were with him, probably. Sure.
We have 2 lots side by side, so we could not even clear out the underbrush and put a picnic table and gravel, right? If that one that's crossed off had passed, you couldn't even obviously we can't park on the streets because they're not wide enough. So we could only use the beach or the camper.
I don't think that ballot fixed that problem, but I agree with you. I think if you own lots in here and you want to come down for the weekend, and you're a perfect example, which I couldn't think of when we were talking about this. But if you want to come down, throw your boat in the lake and put your boat up on your lot and then go down to the beach, I think if you put a piece of concrete for a picnic table and whatnot, you have more of an invested interest of keeping it nice. So I'm all for you. I mean, I might be a minority in that, but
The downside of that is, yes, you're gonna do it in a positive way that like makes it a better place. But how many people are gonna come out here, buy a lot, put their boat on it, the tarp falls in on the boat, the grass is growing up underneath the picnic table, they're not maintaining it, and they don't even come back. So it
We're a little worried about camping on the lot.
Right, well, that, you can't, you know, but, you know, by,
Think of a mansion here, and then something, okay, I guess because there's so many nice houses now, that's.
yeah. And there's places you can do that. It's just, it's not been in our covenants, and we've seen issues with people, even residents parking boats in certain places that are supposed to be parked, and the degradation of the tarp and the flies and stuff. I mean, it's just, it really sends a bad message about the cleanliness of our place. And that's the only thing that we worry about, is not necessarily people that would do it correctly and be able to park your boat and take your boat back home with you. But realistically, we're gonna be down here the next couple of weeks anyway. We'll just leave the boat here. Then you don't come back the next couple of weeks, 6 months later, it snowed on it already. You don't think about it because you don't think about it. And that's the part that kind of ruins it for everybody, is the people that don't take care of their stuff.
That makes a little more sense.
we got a few more minutes. And yes, sir.
I was just wondering, so just knowing about numbers a little bit, looking at the numbers, and I've been looking at them for a while. It seems like not near enough money's coming in. Like, just to her point, I'm sorry, Sherry's point, the houses were 900 square feet. Now we have 3,600 square feet, right? How can we get to a point where we're paying? I mean, I think that the assessment should be twice as much. There's not near enough money coming in. If anybody says that they're not willing to pay more, they don't have numbers, because looking at it, they just not enough money. And I don't think that people are willing to pay more money. I think that it's just they don't trust what's happening with the money, you know. There's the past.
Let me explain to you a little bit how that all went down. We didn't get an assessment increase for 13 years, namely because of the lawsuits going back and forth with the country club, and 1/5 of the subdivision having to support the country club. So our bylaws and covenants actually supported everybody paying. That's why that settlement agreement was done. So people voted no against assessment increases out of principle, because they were paying. I mean, you were never going to get somebody in 20 through 25 to say, oh yeah, I want to pay more money to the POA when I'm paying $900 to the country club. They don't golf, they don't do this, they don't do that. So we do have a 5-year assessment increase, which is after 5 years, then we got a 2% COLA on it, which if you talk to anybody that wrote that settlement agreement, oh, I agree, but it's something.
Here's another thing that I want to mention. So just like we have lots of meters that people don't even pay, right? I know that we're changing a lot this time. People that do live here want to be nice, right? So like me, I'm willing, if you came up with and you said, hey, the people that are paying that actually want this place nice, I know other people have benefit from it, but I don't really care, you know, as long as, why don't we pay more money? I don't know if this would work. I'm just suggesting this. I don't know if there's a way to go around it. Why don't, if we put this much money in here, we'd be in a good spot. I think a lot of people around the lake would.
The main thing with that,
But I want to be able to trust where the money's going. I don't want to put the money in here and then 5 people can vote that we're going to steal this money and use it for something else. You know what I mean? If you put a thing together and you say, okay, this goes to lakes, this goes to security, this goes to the roads, and now all of a sudden our roads crumble, and you say, well, you know what, who cares about the lake? We're gonna take the lake money. We're gonna.
So there's two sides to that. One,
Never brought Peter to pay.
right, but you're also, I agree with that, but when you designate money for certain accounts like roads, beaches, lakes, golf course, whatever. That's fine and dandy when you got a couple $1 million buffer in there, then it's not a big deal. But when you're bare bones, what we have the problem with is a perfect example. We did a $10,000 dredging fund the other year and we weren't going to make payroll. So we had to yank that 10,000 out. So when you get to the point where you got an abundance of, what do you call that? Reserve, then that's fine to earmark budgets. But until we get to that and get that built up a little bit, you can't do that. I will.
Because I can tell that, you know numbers also, but what I'm saying is, if I didn't have enough money for payroll, I'd be talking to my community and I would say, we need more money.
Well, that was all in the middle of this lawsuit stuff, though.
I know, but I would still say, hey, listen, do we want to make payroll? Do we want a functioning, do we want a functioning neighborhood? And I think you'd be surprised at how many people would say, I want a functioning neighborhood. You would get me coming and say, what can I do to help? You know what I mean? Maybe throw a banner of my business or something up and I will donate some money.
Well, and that's great. There's a lot of people in your shoes that would do that. Myself, I would probably, a lot of these people up here and out there would do those kinds of things. But what we have found out, we can only take so much money before we lose our tax filing status. So it's what, a 60-40 or something?
60% of our revenues have to come from the assessment. So it does give a good amount of cushion, but it, certainly not enough money and bandwidth year to year to solve the problems.
Right, and a lot of our money is also coming from boat stickers and all these other things which count into the.
If we fall.
It doesn't, it's only
It's not an
assessment money.
It's just a property assessment. So if we fall below 60%, all of the income we have becomes taxable, and that would be, that would be disastrous.
There's a lot of community knows how all that is.
Well, that's a good point. One thing I would like to say to yourself, I've seen you at the last 3 or 4 meetings, and I don't want to be the guy that sits here and says no to everything you bring up. But just all I know is I have the history how I can answer. But I'd appreciate you keep coming and try to get people like yourself up here, because you're the kind of guys that are these guys here and Adam and Keith, these are the guys that are going to make a difference in the future. No. Yeah, I encourage you to keep showing up.
I
And
hope that over the next few months, those are things that we're gonna be addressing, in, town hall meetings, different things like that. One problem at a time.
I personally, whenever I see somebody take money, so here's how I run my business. If I don't have enough money for something else that I actually do, I know this is longer, I'm sorry. But I don't pay from another to pay, even if I can't do this. If my roads are crumbling, I am personally gonna drive over gravel. And I'm not gonna take from another company.
and I agree with you.
Even if I'm up close, because I've been there. I built up,
I don't disagree with you, because we are driving over gravel now, but you can't, in not paying the office of hours they've earned, that's a different, they are paid employees, that's a little different. But I agree with you, if we don't have the money, we're not gonna dredge the lake that month or something. We are in a better place than we were 3 years ago. We got this 5-year assessment, then 2% or whatever it ends up being. Whoever wrote the bylaws and the settlement agreement ought to be applauded, because what's the inflation rate this year? 6, 7, 8? I mean, we're gonna pay a maximum of 2. It's capped every year at 2. And I think it's gonna be a while before we see a 0. So,
Well, just so we know that, I think we'll talk more about the money situation. I want to just know that I kind of looking at that. I'm wondering, I want the neighbors to know. So I got some good information.
well, we can make that a topic at a town hall. They don't have to be just wide open. We can have topics for them.
Well, our goal going forward for this next year, and we had talked about it internally, is to become more transparent. So where in the years previous and with the golf course, threw everything off, but be able to just, everything we're doing is for the benefit of you and us as property owners. So, hey, listen, we're looking at a little light, and the accounting, Lori has been an absolute help with us. hey, the county's a little light here, here, and here. Holy crap, we never knew. We're in survival mode, right? But the main thing is before we go for an assessment increase, we want to create an environment of trust. Through transparency, through communication, we're gonna tell you what we're doing, why we're doing it, how it's gonna benefit you and us and the community, because everyone in this room only wants to see Braintree bigger and better, and that's what we're trying to do.
Voted against.
Right.
I know we're running out of time, so we should close that. But I just don't want to say, here, I'm dumping money into something, and then whenever I leave, you guys can vote on something. And say, we're taking that money and using it for something else. That right there, the neighbors, I mean, that goes through the neighborhood. People talk.
But the idea,
That's bullshit, because I voted on that assessment to go up, because they said we were gonna have a direction fund and more was gonna go towards it. And then as soon as that happens, bam, oh, we needed it for road.
One thing to that, the original dredging fund that we set up, that was a board that set that up. We didn't have one prior to that. We also, as a board, deleted that because we had to make payroll. But to your point, if you guys voted on something like this, the special assessment for maintenance, that's all it can be used for. We have no control over that. Yeah.
I think one of the premature is to do things that, you know, the community prioritizes is potentially through a special assessment. That means that money can only be spent for what we outline in that ballot item. And, you know, then that might, but, you know, again, we'll run into, I know you're passionate about dredging. You know, dredging.
I just want things to be better.
Dredging probably impacts 150 property owners within Rangery. And there's 2,400
I
people
disagree with that,
voting
those numbers.
that,
But we want a nice lake.
Well,
If anybody knows
right.
anything about a lake,
Yep.
if you look at that lake, you say, that's bad.
But you
If
know,
you know anything about the lake and you look at our lake, you say that this has not been kept up. I just want everything to at least not be the bottom of the barrel.
I will say one thing to that, and I agree with you a little bit. There's probably 100 property owners on the lake, but the dredging fund would benefit anybody that has a boat. I will take one quick question. Ma'am, did you have something, or I thought somebody in the back had a, yes, real quick.
My husband and I have been struggling on what the rules around here, what are we supposed to be doing? You know, I get on social media, but I wonder if what I'm saying is not really true. So I just want to say an orientation would have been
Well, we're gonna work on that.
really good.
As of right now, our rule of thumb is when you break the rules, you find out about them. We're gonna get something together and, Linda brought some good points up. We're gonna try to get a communications committee back together and town halls and orientation meetings, and you'll soon know that Nancy will be at every one of them. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks, Bud. Thank you. Things are going to change after today because we assign new committees and executive board. So depending on how that rolls out, I would say, how about by next Monday, a week from tomorrow? If you haven't got a response, send another one, because we don't have all the emails set up correctly yet with passwords and whatnot. So they all get reset tonight, and then we all got to redo all that. So hopefully the ones that got it working remember how to do it. So I appreciate everybody coming. We gotta go. Wendy's gonna yell at me. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Do I leave this running for the ballot?